Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to my public live stream. It's Thursday night here in the UK, and our local time is 9:33 p.m., which is the GMT or the UK time. Today, I have invited a guest speaker, Teacher John, a Canadian Hello teacher, who is one of the newest teachers, is going to join me in no time. So I've started a bit early though because it's becoming after a while, but let's see how it goes. Hello, Amir Hamza, welcome. Hello, letter A, welcome. And the name is Sir. Oh, that's cool. Hello, Adil, welcome. Once again, dear viewers, this is a public live stream, so anyone can come and make comments. But the problem is that only a Hello teacher can join me. Even my subscribers who have paid for the courses are not able to join in the public live stream anymore. And also, you must be aware that Hello has now new version, Hello Plus, which is really amazing, and it's like a premium service. And every month the cost is $7.99, which is $8. But if you buy for a year, then it becomes $48, which is $4 in a month. Okay. And what's the benefits? And the number one benefit is that you're going to get a Hello badge, golden color hand symbol. Secondly, you're not going to get any more advertisements while you're conducting your live streams. Third one is that you can save your own, live stream. That is the amazing part. So that when you conduct a live stream, when you learn something, after all, you'll be able to listen to it. You can listen to your own conversation, your grammar, your pronunciation, and the way you talk to other people. And definitely you can learn from there. Because remember that as a human, we all make mistakes. But the essence of making mistakes is that we can learn from it as long as it has been corrected by a qualified and competent teacher. Very often, many students ask me, Teacher, I don't know how to correct my grammar. The only suggestion in that case would be subscribe to a competent and qualified teacher who can help you explaining those mistakes, and you can learn from there. All right, guys. So, Mansur, welcome. Adarsh, welcome. Ahsan, welcome. Okay, give me information about interview week. What kind of interview are you after, Adil? I'm not sure what you're referring to. You need to be specific. So, dear viewers, for your information, this live stream has been shared through my Facebook Live as well as through my YouTube channel. And some people have joined from there. Welcome everyone who have joined from the YouTube as well as from the Facebook. Okay, so that's really cool. Once again, have you ever thought when you write English languages or sentences, it doesn't seem to be correct? Have you ever become upset because whenever you're writing something, you're not getting good marks, either in your academic exam or IELTS or any other certificate exam? Or have you ever considered developing your pronunciation? Because when you talk, many a time people are not able to understand your conversations. Sometimes they laugh, they make jokes. Remember that these are very natural as a human, because English language is a second language, my second language too. Being a non-native, it should be focusing on how you can develop your communication skill, your grammar, your pronunciation, articulation, natural way of talking. Remember that talking is an art. Not everyone can speak well. Not everyone is fluent. Not everyone can focus the way they should be focusing. Okay. And there are many reasons behind it, guys. The first and foremost reason is that most of the times, whatever the English we learn from our own country, and there is an impact of the mother tongue. There is impact of the sound. There is an impact of pronunciation. Okay, so These are the reasons, but you can overcome it if you focus it. Others says Hello started play dirty years. I don't think so, others. So you can buy Hello Plus if you want to get rid of those advertisements. Hello Plus is the answer. It is $4 for a month, and I'm sure you spend much money for nothing here and there by smoking, by wasting. Try to invest the money for Hello Plus. Buy it. I'm sure you'll be able to enjoy. Okay. So, dear viewers, once again, until our guests are here, maybe we can continue some tips about English grammar or spoken English strategies or maybe IELTS techniques. If you've got any questions, possibly I'll be happy to answer it. Remember that we are here to learn and develop ourselves. That should be our primary focus. And this app has some strict code of conduct. Number one code of conduct, you must speak in English. Once again, you must speak in English. Do not use any other language. Maybe for demonstration, you can use 1 or 2 sentences, but do not talk more than 1 minute, more than 2 sentences, all right? Number two, when you're texting, commenting, you must write in English because this is the only way you can develop your writing. This is the only way you can develop your speaking. Remember that and bear in mind that by speaking a lot is the only way you can develop your confidence level. You can develop your expertise. Now, in order to develop your speaking, what should I do? What should you do? You need to learn vocabulary, lexical resources. It's a wider variety of words. Lexical resource, it could be synonyms, antonyms, it could be a phrase or an idioms, and possibly some expressions, and definitely grammar rules. After that, when you know the vocabs, there is no way you can make sentences if you don't know how to use the grammar rules correctly. All right. Others says humans who tease beginners are not real humans. That's right. Because remember that others, we all are different. It is our natural habit to tease someone, to be jealous about someone, you know. So that is how we are. All right. Sir says 2 days ago I had a placement test and I got pre-intermediate. This evaluations makes me upset. Why are you upset? Information about the test A1, just give me a question. I don't have any idea. I'm sorry, Adil. Okay. But if you like to ask me about immigration studies, I can give you information. Because that's not my area of expertise. So once again, as I'm saying, when you learn vocabulary, now you need to know how you can use these vocabs into complete, logical, meaningful, and sensible sentences. If you're not able to make sentences with these words, there is no point of learning these words. There is no, you know, it's not important to learn this vocab anymore if you don't know how to make sentences. Hello, Elena, welcome. Dear viewers, remember that the more you like to make sentences, the more you'll be comfortable, possibly expert, and possibly your learning curve would grow up. And definitely practice is the key factor. All right. Mahmoud says, could you tell me the importance of tongue twisters? Tongue twisters are really amazing way to develop some of the sounds and overcome it. It will help sometimes, acquiescing the correct sound, but there are some other problems. Hey, Teacher John is here. Thank you very much, Teacher John. Please let me know when you can hop on. Hello, nonchalant, welcome. Because I didn't expect this evaluation. You expect better than that? Then you reseat it after 1 week, okay? So Teacher John send me the hop on request, so then I'll be able to bring you if you're free. Great, Teacher John is here. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Teacher John. I'm very happy to get you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. I've started a little bit early and I thought maybe you'd be joining me later, but however, it's really my honor to get you a bit earlier.
That's fine. I'm happy to sit and listen as well.
Thank you very much, Teacher John. By the Teacher John, for your information, this live stream has been shared through my YouTube channel and Facebook, and Hallo has a Facebook group I've shared there. So there may be some people watching from there, and on and off, I visit there. If there is any question, I'll ask you. Is that okay?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All right. So, Teacher John, welcome to the Hallo. So, would you like to tell us, please, how did you become a teacher here?
How I became a teacher at Hallo is an interesting story. I teach online for corporations and for companies that teach internally. And one of my fellow employees, who used to be a student, said, "There's another way. And I'll tell you a dirty secret. I don't have Facebook. So I didn't know about Hallo." And I'm very grateful to have found this community. I'm very shocked and very excited by everything that I have learned. And I'm looking forward to finding out more for myself. So thank you for helping me with my journey.
Yeah, very welcome once again, Teacher John. So, we'd like to know a little bit more about you. You are born and raised in in Canada, right?
Yes, I'm Canadian born. My father was in the military, so I've lived in almost every province in our country. I've been very fortunate to, since my early days as a student, be interested in helping other students learn English, immigrants that were not native born speakers. That is how I began to become a teacher. When I was in university, we had a language lab where I worked as well. Then, with the advent of the internet, all of my work became virtual. Long before COVID, I created my own home studio and home office
Hmm.
where I work with students first from Skype and now through a number of corporations and now through Hallo.
That's amazing, Teacher John. So, would you like to tell us in which part of Canada you were born, and maybe your primary school's name, secondary school, and the university, please?
Yes, I was born in Ottawa, Canada, our capital, and I now live outside Toronto, Ontario. Toronto is the capital of the province of Ontario, and I live in between that very big city, big for Canadian standards, between Toronto and Niagara Falls. My schooling, I have a degree in adult education with a specialty in curriculum design and internet technologies from Brock University.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, so how long have you been involved in teaching?
Um, if you push all the 20 years that I've done various jobs in teaching together, probably 10 years.
That's great. And on an average, how many students or maybe how many hours you completed your teaching up to now?
Well, if we're talking about how many hours I've delivered instruction, I've delivered hundreds, but I haven't calculated beyond that. I am not only in English as a second and as a foreign language teacher. I've worked for employees at some big corporations that are based in other countries, Malaysia and Korea. But I've also been a professor at university. I've worked in a college, rather, and at a university in a language lab. I am not as esteemed to be a university professor by degree yet. But then I found the internet, and I'm very happy to be working with people one on one and through corporations, as I said. I may never go back to school. I just enjoy this too much.
That's really fantastic, Teacher John. Um, so if you want to be a professor in your country, Do you need any other degree apart from the degree you have got?
Well, technically, I could apply with my experience. I am a teacher by degree in my country, and I have worked in computer sciences and in technical writing at the college level, and of course, as a trainer in corporations. And it always comes back to English as a second or English as a foreign language for me. It seems I'm always coming back to this. Um, but to become a teacher without experience, fresh out of school, you would need another additional certificate based upon what degree of school you want to teach, specializing in elementary school or high
Mhm.
school or in university specialties.
All right. Uh, okay, we'll go more conversation. Let me welcome some of the people. Damaris, thanks for your donation. Veem, welcome. Say Sirpia, welcome. Mahmoud, welcome. Nonchalant and other people. Dear viewers, today I have invited teacher John, a Canadian hello teacher who is one of the newest teachers. Please welcome. And if you have got any question, please ask in the commentary section. Teacher John is going to read, or maybe I'm going to read alternatively. And Teacher John has not made his schedules available yet, but he's going to do it very soon from the next year, which is next week, basically. So, once again, we're having a little bit conversation. I'm trying to know as much as possible about Teacher John. Okay, so that's really pretty cool. You have mentioned that you also teach other corporate people globally, right? And is it through the online platform?
Yes, I've taught through Skype and through Zoom, and also through every corporation has their own internal software, Moodle and other things. These are the same as Skype or Zoom, but it's controlled by servers just in one company. Or I've also contracted to other companies to teach, and they hire the various teachers for a number of corporations all at once. And now Hallo. This is exciting because I can teach people from all over at the same time. And as you know, teacher, the ability to find students and to discover new students is very hard. Sometimes you pick up a student here or a contract with a school here, but to have the ability to shine my name and let people come to find me if they like me, and for me to learn from so many different countries at once, this is wonderful.
Exactly. And that's a very often I always thank to our CEO, June. And if you may be aware that the head office is based in Utah, okay? And June is the CEO and Ben is the co-founder. As we go through, we'll share some more information. Damaris has a question. Do you have any special topics for us for today?
Oh, well, I'm very good at coming up with special topics on the fly. But some of the special topics that I like to teach in my free speaking classes and in my conversation classes, first of all, the questions are what's happened in your life lately and what's happened in my life lately and how we can compare those stories. Or I like to talk about the most popular news in your country and in my country and compare. And I am always got a soft spot for technology and for storytelling. I love to make sound and audio, and that is one of my contracted jobs, is that I make audio productions for people. And I wrap up all the sounds in a package and I give them a single file that they can put on their website or they can put in their shows. It's a lot of fun. And now everyone has a microphone and everyone has a camera.
Hmm.
And so it's fun for everybody to talk about these things now.
Is it kind of like a background description or maybe audio podcast?
Yes, doing descriptive audio, but mostly podcast producing and working with people on their audiobooks, producing people's fiction novels more than nonfiction, mostly fiction, into sounds that you can listen to when you're commuting or when you're at the gym.
Okay. Damaris has another question. Teacher John, do you have a schedule at the moment?
Oh, you know what, students, I was surprised to have been approved so quickly. I was told it would take a week or two, and it wasn't even a day. So please forgive teacher. Teacher John is going to have his schedule up hopefully by tomorrow.
Well, so do you know how to do that? Yeah, Teacher John, don't you?
I know there's a wonderful Slack hangout where I will be asking these questions. I have some of the
Sure.
information posted, but I'm happy to have the feedback of such wonderful teachers like yourself to help.
That's okay, Teacher John. I'm going to show you. Do you have? I believe that you have got both web-based and mobile-based Hello account, right?
Yes.
All right. The best option is to, just set up your schedule through the mobile, which is very easy rather than web. So you go to your account. I'll show you quickly. So what happened? You see the home button. Oops, advertisement is there. Sorry.
It's the internet.
Okay. You'll see your photo, and then you click it. Edit schedule. You'll see. Yeah. Touch it.
Mhm.
Then whatever you're going to teach. So there are different kinds of classes. Number one, live class, which is you have to choose any 2 days, an hour. It is automatically controlled by the software
Mm,
and counts down from 59 minutes, 59 seconds, but you'll be given the opportunity to start the lesson 10 minutes earlier. So say 70 minutes.
good.
Then when it becomes zero, it shuts down automatically. So 2 days in a week.
See you next time. See you next time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is 4 weeks cycle for every lesson. So 8 classes, and each student has to pay $10. That is the minimum, but you can increase your demand depending on your uh, interest. Then another one is one to one. So you have to give some availability, and the minimum is $7.5 for every 30 minutes. So it's like a private lesson. It will be saved to the student's
Mm,
account. Maybe they like to develop their speaking, they like to develop their pronunciation or accent or anything special. And the third one is if you see the hand shaped symbol, it's called our logo. It's called Find a Partner or InstaMatch. So
mm.
if you are available through your mobile, student can see that, oh, Teacher John is available. If they touch it, they can directly connect to you, and you'll be getting for every minute, depends on your how you're setting up, minimum 14 cents every minute and maximum 50 cents for minutes call.
I'm looking forward to setting those up. I'm in the app now, following along with you, and I've actually gotten this far myself. It's good to have some confirmation. The only other question I had was about the speaking clubs.
Okay, the speaking club we started at the beginning for all of us, but at the moment, not teachers are doing, but you can create your own. You can invite other
Okay.
people. Like I have created one, the Team London Club. Okay, and luckily,
Go Team London.
yeah, luckily I've got more than 800 members up to today. So my target is when I reach 1,000 members, I'll start live stream from there, maybe every
Mhm.
fortnight or maybe every week. Okay, and also when you're updating your schedule, you need two things: the class lessons title, a little bit description, so like synopsis, summary, Teacher John, and your photograph, like
Mm.
we call when what is the it is set a thumbnail. The thumbnail is the photograph. Okay,
For the lesson.
for the
Yeah.
lesson, yeah. And even for the public live stream, so sometimes we can make public live stream like this so that people can come and see, and then you can ask them, if you like my lesson, this is how we can join, blah blah. It's kind of marketing. You have to market your own
Oh,
one lesson.
people have to know who you are.
Exactly. Okay, nonchalance is just blown away by Teacher John's English space because he's Canadian, guys. All right, Dabra says, I was asking because depending on the topic, people subscribe to the teacher. Exactly. So you have got another Canadian teacher, Ryan. He has got quite a good number of students. So for the live classes, Teacher John, minimum one student and maximum 35 in 1 hour.
Mm.
Now the problem is that if there are 35 students in 1 hour, they have to listen to you. Only you can hop on few of them. It is not possible to talk to all of them.
Can you limit it?
Um, I don't know. There might be considering to limit it, maybe 10 or 15. I believe
Mhm.
that it's better to limit not more than 10 or 15.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want less and I wouldn't want more. 10 or 15 is the typical class. 35, I think I'm up for it, but I want to make sure I give them all a good service.
That's right. So there was a question. It has been brought the attention to our CEO about the limiting the class rather than 35 because it will be other too messy. Adarsh has a question for you, Teacher John. May I
Hmm.
know the name of your podcast channel?
Oh, my podcast. Are we allowed to share proprietary, like
Yes,
private
all
information?
teachers can share their YouTube channels and any other third party link, but not the personal number. Only
Okay. Uh, well, I work in many fields. I work as a technical writer. I work as a audio producer. I work as a teacher, obviously. One of my passions, though, is science fiction. So I actually tell stories myself. It helps me stay sharp, and I love to tell stories. I've been published by publishing companies, and I've been self-published, and I have a Patreon where people support me to tell stories, and it's servingworlds.com.
okay, thank you very much. There is another teacher. Dr. Priscilla has a question. Rahat, are the clubs free or do the students pay as a subscriber? No, students do not pay as a subscriber. It is same like a public live stream, but only the members of your club can join you in the comment section and make comments. But if someone wants to make a comment, then they have to join the club straight away. There would be a button, join the club, and then you can comment. Okay, Dr. Priscilla, that's the answer of your question. It's free, yes, Damaris. Teacher has 32 students. All the students love
Because
him.
all the students love him.
That's right. All right, Sidna, welcome. And so, Teacher John, let's move on a little bit more. You seem to be very expert and a very energetic teacher.
Thank you.
Do you know any other language other than English?
This is something that I have made a fun joke because it's something very surprising to me. I am the worst student and a pretty decent teacher. I am Canadian. You would think I speak flawless French. Je ne sais pas. Yeah. I am afraid I am a monolinguistic person. I love to teach and I love to make connections with people. But everybody that I teach, I need to know a little bit about, because if you don't know a person, you can't make a connection to help them understand what they're missing about the language. But I've never found that teacher for me, supposedly. I'm afraid it's English only for me.
Okay, that's all right, Teacher John. I always ask this type of question to our new teachers. And up to now, how many countries have you visited?
Oh, I visited well, yeah, everywhere in Canada. Canada's the second biggest country in the world. That probably counts more than once. The States, obviously, multiple times. And I've taken trips to South American countries and to the Caribbean, but I've never been to Europe or to Asia. And that is my next goal.
Yeah, well,
I've been invited once to work in Asia, but then Corona happened.
all right. Welcome to England. Let me know when you're coming to England. Yeah, Teacher John.
I'd love to.
All right.
That's somewhere else that I was supposed to go, and then COVID.
Okay. And also, you mentioned that your father is an army person, which is why you had to go to different provinces of Canada. So, when you went to different provinces, do you remember any funny incident, any province it happened to your life, or any maybe
Mm.
sad story? Still, it makes you sad or it makes you happy. Would you like to share with us, please?
Sure. Every country is different, and every country has many different parts. Even a city, you can grow up your whole life on one side of a city and be shocked by the other side, right? When I grew up, I was born, and my father being in the military, he is retired now. I was born in the middle of the country at the capital. I moved to the left coast. I moved to the right coast. I moved back to the middle. I moved a little bit close to the middle. So in every province I've visited, and I've lived in 8 out of the 10 provinces. And what I've learned is each one is its own country. Um, Quebec, of course, has its own language. And if you make an effort to speak French, they will try to speak English to you. But if you don't, they will hold it against you. You're not even going to try? Well, tough. Um, if you go to the prairies, we have no deserts in Canada, really, but we have prairies, long, flat prairies full of wheat and highways and not much else. And if you go out there, they live very much like cowboys. You go to Alberta or Saskatchewan, they are famous for their stampedes and their cowboy boots and great pride, like out of a Western movie. If you go to the West Coast in British Columbia, they are either very British or they are very much like Californians, and there's not much in between. They're wacky and silly and independent, or they're very British and you old school. So it's kind of interesting. And the stories that I would share would simply be that every time I visited somewhere, if I tried to fit in and to try to pick up on what they were enjoying, I would really enjoy my time and it would be a new place in the world. If I just tried to say I'm in Canada, I'm going to act like myself, I would miss out or I would have disagreements with people because we didn't understand each other, which is where I probably learned. It's so important to try to understand why your teacher says things, why your student says things, and the understanding is key to growing.
That's correct. Oh, Teacher John, there is one person, the Indominus, who is a doctor in Canada. He's also a registered doctor in Canada, US, UK, and in his country, Sri Lanka. At the moment, he's in Sri Lanka. He's coming back to Canada next month. So, Dr. Max, this is Teacher John, a Canadian teacher from Ontario. And it's my pleasure to get him today in my guest speaker session. So possibly we can contact each other. By the Teacher John, our learners are not able to send you messages, but as a
And
teacher you can send message to anyone. Okay.
thank you.
All right.
Ah,
Because Hello filters it. Otherwise you're going to get thousands of messages. Oh, teacher, I need this, I need help, can you teach me, blah blah blah.
right. Okay, well, I will keep that up and I will get if anyone wants to speak to me, I will have a way to get a hold of me. Come back tomorrow and find me. I should still be at the top as a new teacher. And forgive me, I'm usually better prepared for a lesson.
That's right. And also, if you have time, maybe sometimes you can visit some of the students live stream who are amazing. You'll find that some students are really good. They practice vocab, they practice grammar, they practice taste. Especially this doctor, the Indominus, his all live streams are so amazing because he's a very young doctor. You can imagine Teacher John. He's maybe around 24 years old. He's a registered doctor in Canada, USA, and UK. Now also in his country, and he's going back again. He's coming to Cambridge University to another PhD.
Well, obviously he hasn't learned enough yet.
All right. Okay. Hello, Yolanda. Welcome, Melissa. Nice to see you. Let me welcome other people. Sidna and also Ice. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for joining. So today we are having conversation. Our Canadian, one of the newest teacher from the Hallo. If you haven't followed him, please follow him, support him. As a teacher, we all need your support. Okay. Yonal says, I have a question for you, Teacher John. What's,
Sure.
what's the first thing I need to know to be successful in interview?
In an interview for work, I'm assuming. Well, obviously, the best thing you can do is to make yourself familiar with the company, make yourself familiar through the internet or through friends that may have recommended you with the people you'll be meeting, and be able to talk about what they do, not just what you can do for them, but what you like about what they do and what you can help them do better, and ask how they like the company. Every conversation is better when you ask as much as you say, as you tell.
Thank you very much, Teacher John. Melissa, no, Teacher John is not a doctor. It is another commentator, the Indominus, who is a doctor from 4 different countries. Also, he's an OET teacher, in the I think United Arab Emirates. He completed his CELTA as a teacher, and he's teaching there. I don't know how he manages so much time.
He's missing the gland for sleep. I think he must just be working 24 hours a day.
He does. He has got insomnia. Okay. So, Teacher John, let's move a little bit forward. It's a bit personal question. Do you play any kind of musical instrument, or do you sing?
I think this is the reason that I've become a producer of audiobooks, a narrator, and a teacher.
Hmm.
My instrument is relationships. My instrument that I sing, that I play, I've spent so much time in all of my jobs. The one thread is that I try to understand the other person and make myself the instrument. What do you need and how can I express it for you? And I think empathy and real strong curiosity, those are the kinds of notes that my instrument plays. But that's a kind way of saying I've never learned a language or a musical language.
Okay, but that's pretty cool there, because communication skill, the way you're talking to other people and building up your relationship is amazing. Not everyone is successful, teacher John, honestly.
Thank you.
And that's really very fantastic characteristics. I appreciate you, teacher John. So it's really my pleasure. You just hopped on yesterday and I had the chance to talk to you, because I saw you on the our Slack that you are asking something, you're introducing, and we welcomed you. That's
Well,
great.
thank you.
Okay, so teacher John, now because you are a producer, you're also a teacher, and there sometimes people are confused defining professionalism as a perspective producer or a successful teacher. How do you define professionalism?
This is such an important question, and it's such a hard one to answer compared to 30 years ago. When I first started in university, an authority was someone with a degree and a preset number of years of experience in an authoritative capacity. We live in an age of YouTubers, and we live in an age where you can become, if not a bus driver with 50 years of experience, an Uber driver. You can make your own opportunities. You can prove your own authenticity. And so I'll tell you a secret. Half of the jobs I've ever gotten, I went out and convinced people that I was appropriate to be hired, that I was the successful candidate because of something that they may not even have been looking for yet. So, honesty, transparency, and really trying hard, effort, and learning, making mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I'm going to say the wrong word in every class that I ever teach, but it's how I handle it. If you trust me that I will not try to make you feel bad when I make a mistake, then you will like to learn from me. I hope. That is my goal. And that is the success of being a professional in almost every field. Now, if you're a physicist or a pilot, maybe you need a little more special training.
Okay, that's cool. Uh, but as you might be aware, this platform is not like other conventional platforms. So it's like a social learning platform, and we have got very strong code of conduct, teacher John. Okay, let me share quickly. Number one code of conduct: we must always speak in English, communicate in English in the comment section or chat box. And if anyone doesn't follow that, we have got a group of admins and many other people who work voluntarily. Their duty is to make our learning environment safe,
Mm.
because very often people discuss politics, religion, that these are totally not allowed, and any sensitive issue, and they have to be respectful to each and every person, whether it's a teacher or a student. Okay, we may disagree, but it doesn't mean that we have to be rude to each other. Okay, we can simply politely disagree with your opinion. This is how we learn. And okay, then no adult contains pornographic or any other third party advertisements are not allowed. Only teachers can promote their channels like YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Facebook. As you have shared your podcast, you can do that, but students are not allowed to do that. Okay, and as you can see, we have got different kinds of learners. We have got 1.3 million members from more than 170 countries, and that is amazing. And on an average every month around 2 to 3 million minutes are used by the our users as well the teachers for practicing English here, teaching. That's really pretty cool. Okay, and now the next question is teacher John, because it's like a global platform, when you're preparing a lesson, how do you make sure this lesson can cover all these different kinds of learners?
Well, the most important thing when making a lesson is knowing that everybody is different. And I am excited and interested by how this will be on Hallo when I can speak to an intermediate learner, a beginner learner. Until they know what to expect from a class, you're going to have a whole bunch of different people who have different needs and different levels. So when I'm preparing a level, the most important thing is first always prepare a little longer than the class will last. You can take part of the lesson out, but sometimes you can't really dance your way into new material if you're short. That's why it's important to be ready. But once you have your lesson, whatever part of speech you're talking about, whatever conversation style or topic, then you have to really connect with the students to know if they're understanding you. That means you listen and then you ask follow-up questions to make sure they're not just saying yes, teacher, because they're embarrassed or they're afraid to slow down the lesson. We all are here to learn. It's never a problem to say, please repeat. That's so important. And once that happens, then it becomes who is the repeat visitor that you understand well and can ask perhaps to take the lead for other nervous students or to wait a moment for other nervous students. And those strong students that, as you know, teacher, the students that help you make the class work are so important.
Thank you very much, Teacher John. Okay, so say you have finished a lesson, and do you always ask the feedback question, or do you always follow up with your students?
I can't say always, but I always try to. And if the timer has hit 15 seconds, I may not have time, but I will always be ready to receive a message with feedback. If
Mhm.
I ever do something incomplete or incorrect in purpose that I need to learn from, or by accident that I'm not aware of, the only way I will learn. And in my video, my introductory video on this channel, I say that I believe every teacher learns as much as they teach.
That's right. Honestly, I learned a lot of things from my students, and every day I learn new things from them.
Yes.
Okay, so let me welcome some other people. Miana, welcome. Damaris, Ahmed, who else? Let me see. Thank you very much for joining. So we are having conversation with the Canadian Hello teacher, who is one of the newest teachers of this platform, and we are just moving with our conversation. If you have got any questions about the teacher, you're more than welcome to write in the commentary section. He'll be happy to answer it. So, Teacher John, say it's a very common question. Most of the times, our learners are not aware, or I should say, confused to differentiate pronunciation and accent, and that very often makes them, like a puzzled. So, would you like to highlight these two things, how they can differentiate, or which one should be focused for the development of English speaking?
The accent or the conversational style?
Yeah, pronunciation, say, you can
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Well, pronunciation, even in a country, will change. But it's important for you to identify what you want to learn. Business English, a regional dialect that you're moving to with your family. But once that is established, and for my purposes, I find it unique that because I record books for people all across North America, I am congratulated for having what they call a newscaster accent, which means very neutral, very few peaks and valleys that suggest where I'm from. Every once in a while, somebody will hear a Canadianism and they will message me and say, I know you're from Canada. You said a boot. Um, but on the whole, once you understand the language, the pronunciation you want, then you have to work as hard as you can to make the sounds uh, for the speaker in that region to hear. But don't worry, please don't worry about your accents. The most boring place in the world is where everyone sounds like a newscaster. We need accents. We need extra flavors, and you will never lose a job for having an accent, so long as your words are crisp and clear. Now, there's accent reduction that is sometimes necessary if you're learning new sounds in a new language. Perhaps F's and P's are hard for you, or L's and R's. That I don't ever want to think of that as trying to tear down your accent. I just want to help you build new skills to add. That's all.
Thank you very much. Some more people have joined. Let me welcome them quickly. Hey, Edgar, welcome. Kenji, Melissa again. And there's a question from Miana. Teacher John, what English skills are you planning to teach us? And what level?
What level? Well, for English skills, I'm going to have a very fluid curriculum. The most important, there are topics, there are ways to teach conversationally, or having games, or having role plays, uh, and the very boring fill in the blanks. But there's always fun ways, especially with screen captures, to make that interesting. But for my levels, I'm mostly targeting intermediate speakers. I like to help people who want to learn more than they know, but know enough that they can reach out and communicate. I have worked with entry level speakers, um, and it's fun. But my passion is for taking people who know how to do something, but don't know how to completely put it together. And if they have those hooks, then I can work with them to drag them to the next level and to help them learn more. So intermediate, some advanced if you're doing business classes, but I'm only going to start off with intermediate. And
Okay.
if you feel that you know just enough that you're ready for the next step, then I want to help you get there.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Heisenberg, Ronaldi, Sohrab, Simi, Jazz. Jazz has a question. How can I check my level? Okay, he asked me this question too. Uh, from this app, Teacher John, there is an artificial intelligence test. You can sit for it. You have to go for some grammar, some audio recording. Then the system does it every week. You can do that. But if you buy the Hallo Plus, that is the newest version, that you can do the test as many times as you want because you're buying the premium service.
Hmm.
Teacher John, this app is still on developmental phase because we joined last year, March, when it just started. And as I said, there are a few teachers I should mention. That the Canadian teacher Ryan, then American teacher Sophia, then teacher Julie, who is from the US, and we are. I joined as a student, teacher John. That is the journey how we started, and I was promoted as a teacher after 300 hours of live streaming because I used to do basically IELTS strategies and English speaking techniques, like one
That
to.
is what I love. And this is what I was instantly fascinated by your walking tour of England, sorry, London. England's a little bigger. You'd have very sore feet. I loved how much you were enthusiastic and you really wanted to share. And this is what I said earlier. We live in a land of YouTube and social media, and there's many things that are wrong with that. But also, you can take an idea and grow in ways you never could before. And I'm so glad you did.
Thank you very much. I'm still doing, on and off when I've got chance. I'm based in Essex, by the way, teacher John, which is next to East London border. So you can see I'm at my home, but I work in central London. So all the famous London places are within 2 to 3 kilometers. Sometimes I go on foot, or sometimes I take the bus service, big red bus, or maybe tube railway. Like yesterday, I showed, if you remember, I started from Holborn, then we went to Hyde Park Corner, from there Buckingham Palace, from the Westminster Parliament, Big Ben, London Eye, then Waterloo train station. I finished there and I came back home.
So, what you know, students, is if you want to be a good English teacher, practice your cardiovascular activity.
Oh, wow, that's cool. There are some question. Looks like RJ, welcome. RJ says, hang on, there is another question. Um, I'm sorry, it's RJ's question. What's the importance of idioms in English? Why US people often using idioms in their conversation? Teacher John.
Idioms are an interesting thing. Using these expressions, and it's not just in America, although I think they've really increased the use of it, partially because of the kind of culture we have in North America. When I work with an Asian or a Korean student, They are very dedicated to their community and to following practices and guidelines. And they're always interested, but also sometimes scared and kind of horrified by how independent North Americans are, to the point that they do not follow some of the norms you might expect. And that's how different societies are. And there are parts of Canada where everybody follows the rules. They're very British and very circumspect in British Columbia, but they can also have a neighbor across the way that just wants to surf even in the middle of the winter because it's all cool, man. Um, so idioms are used by people to identify their interests, their class, self-identify who they want to be associated with. Also, they are used to fit in with groups other than their own. You may speak a different way at work than you do at home. You're not lying or putting on a pretend kind of speech. You're simply trying to play with the role that you're fitting into. So when you change the way you speak, you're trying to find a way to connect with other people. And that is really fascinating to me.
Thank you very much, Teacher John, for the clarification. And now, moving a little bit further down, how do you spend your leisure time, or do you have leisure time?
You're funny. You're funny. I have 3 children and a wife.
Hmm.
And for the last 2 years, we've spent a lot more time together. Um, my leisure time is writing my own stories that I share, that I have published sometimes, that I have other actors voice. And too much of my leisure time is recording audiobooks for audible.com, or for companies to have internal audio recordings, or to consult with companies. But more and more, I'm trying to find the time to do the things that I love. Because if you're not really trying to, if you love English because you want a job or because you want a friend that you know to be able to speak with you better, you have to make the time for those things. And you better have a teacher like you have here that has me as a guest today, because life is too short to do everything that you think is important, even if it doesn't work for you. You have to find a solution that meets your goals, but also makes you happy. Why be miserable if you succeed? That's not succeeding.
Thank you very much, Teacher John. I need to contact you later, by the way. Okay, Teacher John, because you're quite expert in this audio recording, would you like to give us some demonstration, like newscaster? You're watching channel 24/7, John from Canada. Tang tang.
Today in Essex, a teacher ate too much food. He had to walk for a long time to get rid of that excess energy, and local pedestrians could swear he was talking to many, many students on his small circular phone. But that image could not be seen because he was holding it around so quickly to show all the sights. People are still talking about this mysterious man. Who is he, and how does he know so much good English words? See, I've already made a mistake, guys. So many good English words. You see, that's what 2 takes are for.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, Miana has another question. Teacher John, do you have your own podcast channel? Though you have answered it earlier, she might have.
Well, I tell stories, and I work with other actors at servingworlds.com. But I've also done a lot of NDAs. It's like work that isn't, you know what a ghostwriter is, people? It's someone whose name isn't on the final movie or book, or a famous person's name is at the top, and then a little tiny writing at the bottom is that other person. I do a lot of that other person. And I used to do technical writing, but I've gotten out of that. I worked for patreon.com for a while. I contracted them when they just got started to research their creators that were growing on their channel and to interview them, like you would hear on the radio when someone interviews a famous person or an interesting person. And I love interviewing people. And I plan to do interviewing on my channel here on Hallo. I think it's fascinating that everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a great story from their past or an interesting job. And as you might be able to tell, I really enjoy combining my interests. So I'm happy to talk about anything.
That's great. I have to be a student, no doubt, Teacher John. Okay. All right. That's cool. So, dear viewers, we're having conversation. Our newest Canadian Hello teacher. If you've got any questions or anything to know about him or his upcoming courses, he's going to update. He said tomorrow. I believe that. Just give him one more day next week, 2022. Yeah, and definitely he's going to teach a lot of things. All right, and I'm sure that you're going to get amazing benefit, as you can see, as though he's talking like a newscaster, like recorded podcast. You're listening 24/7. Okay, Dr. Mash, that that amazing doctor has a question. Which part of Canada do you live again?
I live in between Toronto and Niagara Falls in a small town on Lake Ontario, one of the Great Lakes, the five huge lakes that other people can't believe aren't seas. I live in a little town called Grimsby, right on the escarpment.
Grimsby. Okay. So, Miana again, Simi, Demaris, Hosan says, I'll be. They're going to subscribe to you, Teacher John. Come on, you're missing opportunities. Don't worry, guys. Give some time because Teacher John has been accepted only this week, right? You said
I was accepted on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Wow, not even a week, fourth or fifth
You
days.
guys move fast.
Okay, and RJ has a question. He's asking, do you also dub your story actor like Ben Diesel or any other actors dubbing?
I don't know why you're asking me that question. Don't you know?
All right. Do you mimic any other actor's voice like Mr. Bean?
I haven't been able to really crack impersonations. I'm not too good at it.
Okay. The best way to find Teacher John is, guys, follow him. And when he's on live stream, you can ask the way you have come here question. You can book a lesson. You can join his live classes, private lessons, or
And luckily, new teachers are listed at the top of the page for the first few days, so it gives me a chance. You'll be able to find me right at the top of the list as well.
that's right. So if you're watching from the web, it should be at the bottom. But in the mobile, it's also bottom. Let me check. Is it bottom?
Oh, oh,
Yes. New
oh,
teachers. All
new teachers.
right. All right. So Dr. Mesh is between Grassy and Lincoln. Yeah, it's Grimsby.
Yes. Are you a local? Oh, definitely. I have to get in touch.
That's right. Because he's flying, I think, 19th of January from Sri Lanka to Dubai, Dubai to Ontario.
Well, I look forward to hearing your story, sir.
That's great. So teacher John is welcoming you, Dr. Mash, but he's coming for his PhD program, I believe that first week of February. So he has to be back to the UK
Oh.
by the second week of first week. So I'm going to meet him. Definitely, if I meet him, I'll invite you, teacher John. Okay.
At least put him on the live stream so your other students can see.
Sure. Okay, so teacher John, let's move on a little bit. So you have been involved, like, what are your productions, and recording, as well as teaching. Did you ever feel that you need to achieve something more?
I'm not done yet. I'm still doing new things all the time. I love learning new things, and I don't think anyone's ever done unless they decide they're done. I think the best thing you can do is find ways to stay interested in the things you must do. Everybody has days they don't like their job. Some days even teachers don't want to answer questions, but you have to remember why you love it and remember that there are people that depend on you to do it. So try to do it well. And if it's really something that has no longer, if you are looking for that new job interview that you want to learn English for, make sure it's a job that won't only provide for you and your family, but it will provide some really warmth and some real growth in your heart, because life is too short to feel trapped. You must always try, and you must always try to smile.
That's right. That's a very amazing piece of good advice, dear viewers. Okay. Smile. Life is short, enjoy it. Okay. All right. So, teacher Johnny have mentioned that you have got three children. Is it okay to let us know about their ages or age?
Yes, yes. Do I have any? Oh, they're just babies back there. My son Nathaniel is going to be 16, and my daughters, Aislinn and Kieran, are both going to be turning 14. They were
Twins?
born on St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick does. Wow. Are the twins, you said?
They are.
Wow, he's a lucky dad.
I'm a very lucky dad.
Okay, so you also said that you give a good time, quality time to your family and children.
Yes,
Okay.
that's part of the reason, even before COVID, that I chose to work from home. I was working in other cities and taking hours to travel. So I wanted to be home. And it's worked out pretty well. But like anything, if you're in charge, if you're your own boss, you have a jerk for a boss and you really have to work hard.
That's right. And there is no way you can get rid of your own responsibility.
I need an intern.
Appoint me, please. Remote intern. All right. Teacher John, how did you celebrate the Christmas there?
I celebrated Christmas. We were very lucky. We are not in lockdown right now, but we are very careful. This, I feel terrible to say lucky, but my father-in-law had a lung transplant, a surgery where they take both lungs out at the same time. So he has to be very careful of infection. Therefore, it was safe for us to get together. And I was very lucky. My father also lives within a kilometer of my house and sees no one. So we had a tremendous Christmas with two guests. It was wonderful.
All right. So, what is a typical Christmas dinner in Canada?
Excessive, too much food. Um, Everyone has their own rituals, but very common is to have turkey and stuffing, which is like a breaded dish that is cooked with the meat, sometimes inside the meat,
Hmm.
but it's very delicious. We love creamed corn and squash and gravy. And then we feel terrible for days.
And dessert?
Well, dessert, I don't know if there's a traditional dessert. Hmm, apple pie, probably. But also so many kinds of Christmas cookies or Christmas cakes or Christmas cutouts like bars. There's never a shortage of junk food.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. And
I want to ask you questions. What did you have for Christmas? What was your Christmas like, teacher?
okay, Teacher John, I'm sorry to say that because I'm Muslim, I don't celebrate it. But if someone invites me to their Christmas dinner, we participate.
I am an atheist. I don't have a religion. I'm just crazy about Christmas because I like people.
All right. And you said you also like reading books, right? You mentioned
Oh,
it.
yes.
So,
Hmm.
who's your favorite writer?
Oh, my favorite writer.
And what kind of books do you like most?
See, my daughters asked me this when they were growing up. They would always say, Dad, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite time of year? And I always say, this one right now, because you have to enjoy what you're doing. And I try to instill in my children never to make what you're doing now fit how you felt before, because I think you kind of cheat yourself. And I like to go back, especially at Christmas, rewatch some great things or reread some great things. But my favorite book is the one I'm about to pick up. And my favorite movie is the one that the people I'm with really want to watch.
Okay. So, what is the last movie you watched with all the family members together?
Okay, so we watched a movie 2 nights ago. What? It was a Christmas movie, The Family Stone. It is about a family who's, of course, very eccentric with many crazy members. And a typical family gathering gone terribly wrong for comedy. But it's all set at Christmas and it's very heartwarming and there's lots of snow and happy endings.
Okay. Do you also like animation or animated movies?
I like animation and animated movies, but that's one of the things I haven't had a lot of time for, I'm afraid. Um it's hard to find. I maybe get one or two a month in.
Do you remember any movie's name you watched last?
Oh, animated movies?
Hmm.
Oh, well, I watched the Ted Lasso Christmas special, which was claymation.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. And you know, in other movies, what kind of movie is your favorite?
Well, I'm a very big sci-fi buff. I like I like movies that are very imaginative, that are very well done. And I don't mean big special effects. I don't care about special effects. The best movies are often the ones that have no budget, no money, and just barely enough to get made. So they have to be clever. They have to be creative. Those are my favorite movies. So I like movies that make you think twice. Well, I've watched the big super blockbuster. Now I'll try this one. Wow, that was great. But it's always going to be like genre films. I like science fiction. I like mysteries. But when I watch TV, I like ensemble stuff, like crazy people that have big stories that take 2 or 3 series to tell.
Okay, so there is one question from RJ. Which who is your favorite actor?
Okay, I don't do the favorite thing, but right now I'd have to say that my favorite actor would be the one that I was most impressed with recently. And there is a TV show 20 years ago that I'm watching now because it was given to me as a box set for Christmas. Aaron Sorkin did a show called The West Wing, and he did another show about like pretend Saturday Night Live TV show where people do comedy and crazy things. And it's an actor that was in both of those called Bradley Whitford because he's a very silly, goofy man who's trying to do the right thing. And I guess I can relate.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Uh, I'm sure you like Stephen King's movie in that case, don't you?
Yeah, he scares me though. He's too scary. Um, I'm not trying to wiggle out of your questions, teacher. I promise. Um, but in between crazy action and horror, there's suspense, and those are the movies I like the best, where you're afraid of what's going to jump out instead of seeing the gross thing jump out. So Stephen King's um, stories that kind of they're not his traditional stories. They're my favorite, like Stand by Me, or there's one about a man that goes back in time. It's named after the date that Kennedy was shot, but I can't remember the name of the title right now. And it's always about the people and how they react to what they thought they were going to see or how they thought they were going to feel. And I think we're finding out a theme, and I'm always trying them something new. I like to surprise and impress people, but I also like to grow.
Okay, that's really pretty cool. Okay, some more people have joined in the meantime. Jane, welcome. Hosan, the app owner is CEO June and the band. They both are based in Utah of the United States. Edgar, welcome again. Cartoon, welcome. Dr. Mash, welcome again. And he says stuffed turkey and creamed corn in Toronto. Okay. uh,
Sorry.
that's okay. And we are having conversation here with our Canadian new Hello teacher who is really spectacular in production. As you can see the way he's talking, like we're listening to a podcast, and that's really helpful for our listening skill, developing the listening skill. And if you've got any questions or comments, he's happy to answer it. How much time have you got for us, teacher John?
I could be here for probably another 20 minutes.
Great, so he can stay with us another 20 minutes. Let me try to find out more information from him in the meantime. So, teacher John, as you have started your journey as a teacher, then production, and still you said you have a lot of things to achieve. Do you think that in such a short life, people can be happy by achieving one after another?
If all I ever achieved before COVID, I've always had desk jobs. I work with the computer. I work with the microphone. I've never been a physical worker. But during COVID, my children stayed home from school for almost a year. So we moved their desks into our family room, and we had no room. And I said to my wife, I would like to try to turn the garage into a finished room so we will still have a family room. So when the kids are done school, they'll feel like they can leave school and have another room to play in. And she looked at me and said, Are you crazy? But I tried. And it's not pretty. The mudding and the boards aren't all cut perfectly, but I managed to fix up that room so that my kids had a place to be. And I was very proud of it. And I've since then I've fixed a few other things around the house. And this is my long way of saying no matter what, I'm going to find a way to improve in the thing that is before me. And if the internet goes out tomorrow, I'm still going to find a way to be happy with my house and my family and my friends. Because really, um, when I talk to someone on the internet, it's the relationship that matters so much. It's the chance to help them finish a production or learn a skill for that job interview or for making good friends, for travel. It's about the connections. So I will always find someone to be connected to and someone to try to work hard for. I think it's important that we are all have some kind of sense of service to something else. And maybe I'm too busy, but even if there's just one thing to do, I'll always try to do it well. And yes, I do. I really think you can be satisfied and happy in life if you know who you are and you try hard.
Thank you very much. Teacher John, would you like to type, I mean, mention your podcast channel so that I can pin it? They can listen to it. They're asking this question again and again. I believe
Well,
it's better if I pin it on the comment section.
now, you want me to type it in the comments? I want to warn people. This is fiction. This is play. This is just crazy science fiction stuff. This isn't English lessons. But okay.
But they're interested to listen to your voice. Like, you're listening to Teacher John of Canada. Today, we have got a special guest, and his name is Tang Tang.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, just I'm pinning it there, viewers. So you can hang on a second. Servingwalls.com. Okay. So if you visit there, you'll be able to find Teacher John's podcast there. Are these all stories, as it said, fictions?
Yes, I've in my life I've done probably hundreds of interviews for companies like Patreon and for myself, and for a number of other companies. But this is just the love stuff. This is the stuff that I like to do. I've had some stories published. I have a Patreon where people pay me a little bit of money every month to keep telling stories, just like Charles Dickens in the old days in the newspapers and the Penny Dreadfuls. It's something I very much love. And they're always about crazy little characters trying to find ways to mean something to someone or to help someone.
Okay. I remember suddenly you mentioned prairies. There is a television program, it was shown here, The Little House of Prairies. It's like one of the longest, like a serials has been shown in the British television.
Really?
Yeah, it's called The Little House of Prairies. It's like a country life, how they grew up the
Oh.
children, then they are establishing their lives, from very childhood, from the birth to up to maturity. It is amazing. It's like a family movies.
And you end up loving the characters. Oh, how could you do that? Oh, good for you. You overcome that. Everybody loves those stories.
That's right. And also, I remember there is another movie. I forgot now. It's a very amazing Canadian movie. And I've noticed that Canadian movies are a bit different than the Hollywood movies.
Mm.
Okay, there are some more questions. Welcome, Jean again. Miana says, what fun things, activities can you do in your city?
Well, I live in a town. There are 28,000 people, and it's about a kilometer wide. There's an escarpment, which is taller than a hill but shorter than a mountain, maybe half a kilometer. And there's one of the biggest lakes in the world. And then there's some houses, and there's a highway, and some more houses. So we can go for walks. We have some of the most beautiful hiking trails in the world. In the summer, I like to paddleboard. It's like surfing, but you stand and you paddle on the top of the board and you try not to fall off. I like to hike, I like to bike, I like to camp, and I like to work around my house. And my wife would say I pretty much live on the internet no matter what city she takes me to.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Rofar, welcome. Nonchalance has made a comment. I guess Teacher John is a fan of Christopher Nolan. Okay.
There are some wonderful, and you've picked some great examples, Nonchalant. In Interstellar, some of the best scenes aren't the incredible special effects of traveling faster than light and saving the human race. It's the connection between a father and a daughter, and it's wonderful. And even if we do create ships that go to Mars and beyond, you're not going to care about the ship. It's just going to rust like a car in your driveway. You're going to care about the people you meet on the way.
Exactly. Okay. Have you ever watched any of the James Bond movies, Teacher John?
No spoilers. I mean, I know the big spoiler, but no spoilers.
All right. Okay. This is a technical and hypothetical question for you, Teacher John.
Sure.
If you had to choose to leave any country other than Canada, which country you'd like to choose and why?
Well, my wife and I know people in New Zealand, and we've been very tempted.
Okay. You've been there already, haven't you?
I have not been to New Zealand, part of the reason it has such an allure, but I also know people. And when you have relationships with people, eh, then you're more intrigued to be part of their lives more. And honestly, North America, well, I know that we're not going to go into politics, but we have some questionable people making decisions on both sides. I'm very curious about why both sides, Republican, Democrat, liberal, provincial, whatever you call them, I don't believe there's a hero on one side and a villain on the other. And I'm really concerned. I don't think there's a perfect world with a perfect politics, but I think sometimes smaller countries have less division. And I love nature, and New Zealand looks very beautiful. So you may be seeing me log on at different times of the day in the future.
Okay. Yeah, people say that it's like a heaven of the planet Earth. And honestly, our teacher Johnny is the last corner of the planet Earth, down under
Yeah.
Australia. Okay. Um, RJ Raj is from India. He has got a question for you. Have you ever watched any Indian movies,
Bollywood.
Bollywood
Bollywood
movies?
movies. I have not. I have not. I like musicals and I like really good stories. I don't want to be insulting. I like Slumdog Millionaire, but you're probably going to say that is not Bollywood, and I know it's not. But just the little touches that I've seen in other movies that I think they imitate them not as well. I'd really like to dive in, but again, it's a question of time.
Exactly. I like watching movies, honestly, teacher John. Every country's movie in their own language, not in a subtitle, so that I can follow the way they talk. And also, I forgot to mention that I'm also a professional guitarist. I learned it from my childhood, from my country, And the greatest performance I have ever had in London was huge field, 55,000 audience. We played
Wow.
6 hours non-stop. You know,
Wow.
as I mentioned earlier, that I'm from Bangladesh, so I know Bengali, Hindi, the language of India, Urdu language of Pakistan, then Arabic, then
What am I doing here?
Teacher John, there is a reason how I came to know this in language. Bangladesh once upon a time is part of India and Pakistan. If you go back to the history before 1947, we're the part of India, and it's called East Bengal. Then in 1947, when it was divided, then we become the part of Pakistan. We are
Mm.
called East Pakistan up to 1971. Then we got independence. Then Bengali is our mother tongue. And it's like a, you can say, newly built country. We just celebrated 50 years, victory on the 16th of December. Still, we're growing. We're learning cricket, Uh, but the matter is that I used to work in Middle East as a pharmacist, so I had to learn the language. That is one of the requirements to talk to my patients, doctors,
Mm.
nurses, explain the medications. So language is very much important. And honestly, teacher John, you'll be surprised to know that I learned the conversational Arabic. And if someone asks, "Do you know the grammar of Arabic?" No, I'll simply say no. But I can still, communicate with them. But
That's like becoming a guitarist by learning by ear.
yeah, but for guitar, it took 2 years for me, teacher John, and it is so painful, so uh, perseverance, I should say. I remember that I practiced minimum every day 3 to 4 hours learning guitar. All these notes, the bass pattern, these different 4/4 patterns, all these different.
This is a perfect example for your students learning English or for anyone learning anything they care about, whether it's for passion or a requirement of your job. You have to put in thousands of hours before you know if you even like a thing, really.
That's right. And the plus point of this, music is Teacher John. Music took me those places and those people where ordinary person cannot go, like say Prime Minister, Secretariat, businessman, industrialist, business tycoon, all the celebrities. Because I'm a musician, I can go there, perform there. And the greatest payment I always share, we got in from one of the uh, I think business tycoons program. In one night we got $10,000 for 3 hours, which is roughly 6,500 pounds, British pound sterling.
Dinner's on you.
Sure, you're welcome, sir.
I just have to fly over and pay the airfare. You'll buy dinner.
Certainly. Do you want me to send a chartered flight for you?
Oh, well. Huh.
Then we can say, Your Highness, Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, our teacher John is here from Canada. Uh, Many parts of Canada, Canadian places are similar names like England, right, teacher John?
Yes, many, many places. Probably more than any other country, we take names from England, but we've assimilated many names from English-speaking parts of the world.
That's great. And is there any history behind it? That
Well,
what?
that history is always a two-sided coin. You know one history, but you may know only part of it. And the history that you grew up with may not be the whole story. But the more interesting history, and again, I'm not dodging the question, it's just it's the history that means something to you. When you learn a word, you remember that word associated with how you learned it. Like if you were playing football with your dad, you're going to have a different meaning from football than if the first time you held a football, people were trying to kill you on the football field and you really didn't want to play in high school. Why do you have to do this to get a credit? So we're part of history. The history that we see around us that is named for us is only one part of it. The other part, every one of us makes our own history by how we react with things.
Exactly. That's why it's better to know different views when you're reading history, teacher John.
Yeah, it's important. They say those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, but there's a very important thing they leave out. Those who don't know that somebody chose what parts of history to put in a certain book, so you'd better read at least three, are doomed to repeat whatever that person wanted you to do.
Hmm. Thank you very much. That's really pretty cool. Okay, teacher John, we are almost, finishing time. Do you have anything to share or say for our learners? And let them know when you are going to update the schedule so that they can come and book your lesson.
Tomorrow, I promise. Learners, thank you so much for being interested. Thank you. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and working with you. I only apologize. I took so much time away from your teacher, and I know that I tend to get a little enthusiastic, and simple answers are sometimes better. But I promise that everything that you want to know, I will do my best to explain or to learn with you. I want you to teach me as much as I can teach you, and I will work on making it as enjoyable as possible, because the only way we ever remember things is if we are open to remembering them. And I don't want you to feel guarded or nervous. If there's ever a mistake, just as I'm sure this teacher has taught you, ask, and we will do our best to change things to make it more acceptable to you.
Thank you very much. So, dear viewers, once again, we're having conversation with the Canadian new teacher, hello teacher, teacher John, who is an amazing broadcaster, you know, yeah, as well as amazing teacher. Please follow him, join his lessons, book his one-to-one lessons. He's going to update it after, I think, before the new year, as he said.
Tomorrow, I promise.
If not, join from the next week.
You
Okay.
got it.
So if you have got
Thank
any
you
more
so much.
question, because still you have got a couple of minutes more, teacher John is ready to answer.
Yep.
Miana, welcome. Hero, Luis, RJ, and everyone who are watching. Thank you very much, guys, for your support and for your cooperation, for your lovely comments. And another amazing part is that teacher John, that our students are so talented, so supportive. Sometimes they can tell what to do. Sometimes they can advise you, guide you, which is
I've always found that to be true with my students. The shyest or most nervous student who feels they have nothing to contribute can make the difference in a fun class or a mean-spirited class. Everyone matters in a lesson.
That's great. And thank you very much once again, Teacher John, for your time. And we hope to meet you once again if you have time. What happened, I tried to bring our new teachers. I started this kind of interview concept at the beginning of this year from the February, and that time the Canadian teacher Ryan was the first guest speaker. It's really cool. People know that when any new teacher is there, I try to bring them and I try to talk to them and try to introduce with our Hello family. And also, as you might be aware, public live streams are not saved on the Hello because I
Mm.
shared through my YouTube channel and Facebook Live. Always there is a saved copy. So if anyone wants to ever see it, please visit my YouTube channel, English with Rahat Ali. You can find that. There are hundreds of videos, honestly, Teacher John, with the different teachers.
I'll have to look.
Yeah, please. And if you have a YouTube channel, let me know later so that I can subscribe to you. All right.
Thank you so much for making this time, and I look forward, just as teacher to teacher, to learning from you and talking to you again in the future.
Sure. And if you need any help, support, Teacher John, just message me. Yeah, you know how to
Thank you.
connect. Thank you very much, Teacher John. And second,
And thank you, students, for the warm welcome. Bye.
sure. Okay, dear viewers, that was Teacher John from Canada. We're going to finish our live stream now. Thank you very much for coming here. Remember that uh, as a teacher, as a student, we are always like a part of you. Without the students, teachers are nothing, and vice versa. And we always need your support, and the way you support us really amazing. I'm much, much thankful to you. And if you're interested to join any of my lessons, you might be aware that I've got lessons from Monday to Sunday, 4 mornings like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and 6 evenings except Thursday night. And I teach English grammar, spoken English, IELTS, strategies, as well as basic British IPA. And if you're interested, just you have to go to my account and sign up from there, and you'll be able to join me straight away. Thank you very much for the donation, Damaris and Miana, Rajesh, Sami, Luis, everyone. I'll see you later. You take care and bye.